Call this meeting to order, the Rockledge City Council regular meeting, Wednesday, May the 16th, 2018 at 6 p.m. City Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Mayor Price.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Ferguson.
Here.
Councilwoman Martin.
Here.
Councilman Forrester.
Here.
Councilman Dasky.
Here.
Councilman Hartzell.
Here.
City Attorney Maniclier.
Here.
City Manager Fetro.
Here.
Please stand for invocation, and it's going to be by Councilwoman Martin tonight, and also remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we bow? Father God, we're grateful this evening for the rain. We're grateful to be able to gather together here in this council chamber, and we are just so grateful, God, that you have chosen us to serve this community. We thank you for the residents, for our administrators, and we just ask that you would continue to bless us. Let us return to our homes safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Council has before them the minutes of the regular meeting, May 2nd, 2018. What's the pleasure to council?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on May 2nd, 2018.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Presentations. This is always a neat night when we get to recognize our salutatorians and valedictorian of Rockledge High School. We do this once a year, and I'm surprised there's only 3 this year. Just happens, huh? Okay. But these are the 3 smartest kids in Rockledge High School. That's the best. Okay. I usually bring my beautiful wife in to read for me while I do the presentation. So come on up, Teresa. And Vicki, come on up here.
Yep.
She calls you up. Come on up.
I have 3 of them here. Yep. Okay, so we have 3 outstanding young ladies tonight. Very proud to have them here. And the first one we're calling up is Dimple Gajar. She is a salutatorian. And did you want her to come over? Dimple? Okay, usually the mayor wants to hear what your grade point average is and where you're going to college and what you're going to major in.
My my unweighted grade point average is 3.9. My weighted is 4.5, and I'm going to college at the University of Florida.
Very good.
Yeah. And I'm majoring in biomedical engineering.
Wow, excellent.
Duck Joe.
Scramble.
Run
as fast as we can.
Okay. Our next outstanding salutatorian is Danielle Klein.
Hi, my unweighted GPA is a 3.9 and my weighted is a 4.64. Oh, I'm going to Florida State and I'm going to major in biology pre-vet.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Last but not least, your valedictorian for Rockledge High School class of 2018 is Miss Hannah Schaefer.
So my unweighted is a 4.0 and my weighted is 4.6 something. I'm not sure. But I'm also going to Florida State, so see you there. And thank you. I'm going to major in biochem as of now.
Wow.
I've never made a be in her life.
In the center.
We've already done our. I don't think you could do that tonight.
Right. Can't kneel, Tom, you have no knee.
And just so you all know, Danielle is a junior, graduating a year early.
Wow.
Well, ladies, we want you to know we're very proud of you. We always look forward to this every year. And I made the mistake one year of asking everybody where they're going to college, and one young man come up and says, I'm going in the military. And I felt terrible from that point on. So I never ask you if you're going to college. You just, what are your plans in the future? Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
As a former assistant principal of Rockledge High School, please permit me to say congratulations as well.
Now we have a presentation from Brevard Heritage Council. You guys come on up.
This is a hard act to follow. My name is Pace Hill. I'm on the board of the Brevard Heritage Council. And we're here to give the banner that we presented at our annual meeting in May, the first part of May, to the Rockledge City Council for St. Mary's Church. And I would just like to say that I have lived in Brevard County 3 different times, so I think maybe I'm supposed to be here. First came in 1964. The Brevard Heritage Councils started in 1988, and it's been active for 30 years. The mission of the Brevard Heritage Council is to promote the restoration, preservation, and maintenance of historically significant facilities, properties, and scenic sites by increasing the focus and knowledge of our rich heritage. I feel that this is very important because we're having new people move into Brevard County, a lot of new people moving into Brevard County, and most of them don't even get off US 1 or down in Melbourne to see the historical houses that we have and how they are maintained. At our annual meeting, we had a house we honored a house that was built in 1890, one that was built in 1914, and of course St. Mary's Church, which was 1917, and then one built in 1956, and then one built in 1960. It's hard for me to realize that they're considered historical houses, but if they're over 50 years old, they are. We award banners and certificates to houses and buildings. The banner is the most prized award, and we awarded that to St. Mary's. And they have to keep their repairs and their buildings up to the standards that they were in 1917. Now, the certificates that we award, the houses are historical and do have significance, but they might have a window air conditioner or, you know, some things that are not quite what we have. I think it's very important. We would love for more people to join. We have to raise money. We have tours of homes, different areas, and other money-making projects. So I would like to, do I give this? All right. You're going to get this. Is this a certificate? You're going to also get the banner because it was, yeah, because the banner we didn't find any faults. So, thank you. Good. Thank you.
On behalf of the Rockledge City Council and all the citizens of Rockledge, we really appreciate this. Thank you very much. We'd like to have you up here for a picture in front of the banner.
Come on, Frank. Let's go, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you very much. I'm glad they showed up at the last minute, the students. Okay, financial budget report.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
move to be in receipt of the financial budget report for the month of April 2018.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public hearing, ordinances, resolutions. Resolution authorizing the City of Rockledge to accept grant funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and authorizing the city manager to execute the FEMA funding agreement and all other requisite documentation. It's a pleasure to council.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Move to waive the reading and adopt the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Reports from boards and committees. Who's giving that to me today?
Mr. Chairman,
Go right ahead, Mr. Ferguson.
I move to be in receipt of the minutes of the following meetings: Fire Employees Retirement Board minutes of meetings on February 15, 2018, General Employees Retirement Board minutes of meetings on February 15, 2018, Police Employees Retirement Board minutes of the meeting on February 15, 2018, Business Development Committee minutes of meetings on April 24th, 2018, and Planning Commission minutes of meetings on May 1st, 2018.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no reappointments. We do have an appointment. Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'm going to move to appoint, wait a minute, let me find the name here. Adam Copenhaver to the Planning Commission.
Is Adam in the audience? Okay. We have a motion?
Second.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Business Development Committee. We have an appointment there. One applicant has been received from the same guy again. It's the only applicant we have?
He's all three of them.
Really? Okay. So I need an appointment on this.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
move to appoint the applicant Adam Copenhaver to the Business Development Committee for terms of service of 2 years.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. C, Rockledge Environmental Enhancement Tree Board.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I would just like to say, this is a new appointee to our boards, and I think that maybe two's enough. I think maybe we should not appoint anyone to the tree board at this time, and see what we can come up with.
How many openings we have on tree board? Two?
Two.
Two. You have enough for quorum?
They do.
Okay. You have no other applicants?
No other applicants at this time, but there will be a blurb in the downtown that's coming out.
Good.
Requesting volunteers.
Okay. So we can do that, take no action if everybody's okay with that on the council?
I just think that for a new member, 3 boards at once would be a little bit
Okay.
too much.
Just explain that to him, Brenda, when you, or Lisa, when you do call the gentleman, tell him he's been appointed to 2 boards.
I'd like to see that they perform. We had someone we appointed recently didn't show up. So it'd be nice to see him show up for a few meetings.
Yeah, okay.
And oftentimes when somebody is very zealous and applies for a number of boards and committees and they are appointed to several, that's exactly what happens. They are very enthusiastic and then it wanes a little bit, so.
Okay.
May I ask, with regard to the advertisement, does it state what the various boards' responsibilities are?
It directs citizens to the website, which
okay.
has descriptions of the responsibilities of each board, committee, and commission.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Unfinished business, none. Consent business, Mr. Dasky.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, move for the approval of these consent business items. The first one is interlocal agreement, Brevard County Board of County Commissioners and City of Rockledge, Save Our Indian River Lagoon, local infrastructure surtax for the city manager. Second, memorandum of understanding, Brevard County School Board and City of Rockledge, school resource officers for the Public Safety Department. C is purchase of police radios for the Public Safety Department. D is memorandum of understanding, Coastal Florida Police Development Association, the PBA, and the City of Rockledge, appointment to position of the fire inspector / plan reviewer for the city manager.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. This is consent business. There is no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman,
Motion carries. Go ahead.
I'd just like to point out that one of the things that we just approved in the consent on the school resource officers will allow us to have a full-time school resource officer in every Rockledge public school this year. And I know from conversations with some people I've had in other jurisdictions that they're not as fortunate as we are. They don't have, for one reason or another, the ability to have a resource officer in all their schools. And I think our schools are safer because of it. And we're also, Mr. Lasada has also been getting some extra people out to the schools first thing in the morning and at the end of the day. So we have additional officers on duty keeping an eye on things at those 2 busy times of the day. So we're doing what we can at the time, for the time being, to keep our schools safe. So I think that was worth noting.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. New business update, Valencia Fishing Pier Dock, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So in the last 6-7 months, I've been updating council on the various city assets that were damaged from Hurricane Irma. As we all know, October to December was, no pun intended, but sort of a wash because all of everything that was damaged, very critical assets, certainly including our Fire Station 36 over on Fisk Boulevard, pipe failures, road failures, very, very critical assets for the city. So that was certainly the city's area of focus. Then in January through March, we certainly began working very closely with FEMA and working to get the estimates to FEMA regarding all of those damages. So with regard to Valencia Dock, you all will recall, the county, through our O&M agreement with Brevard County, submitted the Valencia Dock, as well as, there's a list of 18 projects that they have submitted, not only for this city, but for other cities, to FEMA. So while waiting to hear from FEMA, which we all know could take literally 10 to 12 months, the county, what's called District 4 Parks and Rec, of which the cities in Cocoa and Rockledge are in the District 4 Parks and Rec area, they submitted the list of 18 projects to the county commissioners, asked for a loan, if you will, from their insurance fund, of which the commission has granted to begin the repairs on those 18 assets, if you will. And so that is the latest information that we have. The Valencia Dock is project number 18 on the list of 18. They have estimated an amount of $67,500 to repair the dock. So they tell us that as they can get contractors, those projects will begin to be repaired. The estimate from not only the county, but from another construction company in Brevard is that what are called marine subcontractors, if you will, which is who's required to repair docks, could take anywhere from 9 to 10 months to get it scheduled. So with regard to the Valencia Dock, that's the latest information as I have it. It's on the approved list. The county is beginning to engage those contractors. Unfortunately, that type of contractor is still a long ways out from being scheduled. So that's the latest as I have it. As I get other information or updates, I will certainly keep council informed.
Okay.
Could
Anybody have any questions? Go
Could
ahead.
we do the Dave Ramsey method of doing it, the small things first? Take care of the smallest things first and just get them over, and then move on to the big ones? We're only $67,000. Some of these are $2.5 million.
And right now, sir, with all due respect, I think the roofs, in the county's opinion, the roofs on facilities, because as it rains, when rain comes in a facility, we know that's pretty significant damage. So I know they wanted to do the roofs first, and they're starting that.
But most of them are boardwalks and docks.
Yeah, but the other things, and those are all, again, that would be that marine subcontractor that's, but certainly they are working on it, what they tell me, they are working on it as quickly as they can and wanting to get the work lined up and scheduled. So as I know more, I will certainly let you all know.
Okay.
But that is the latest that I have.
You have a card?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one card from Ms. Nancy Forestier.
Nancy, come forward. Name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Nancy Forestier. I live at 32 North Fernwood Drive. I live a half a block from River Road, and the dock is about a block north. And I just want to make sure I understand that FEMA's going to pay for the repair, but meanwhile it takes so long that we're getting a loan to get it faster. Is that correct?
Not exactly, Nancy. How are you, by the way? That it has been submitted to FEMA, and so there's no guarantee, frankly, that FEMA will reimburse cities and counties for any of these projects.
Okay.
They evaluate it, and then cities and counties get informed, again, literally 8-10 months down the road. For example, we just in January, I believe, got our Hurricane Matthew money. That's just what it is. So, So there's no guarantee that FEMA will reimburse cities and counties for these projects. We're hopeful, to be quite honest. I have heard, it's been said to me that 67.5 might be on the lower end. It may require more funding because if pilings need to be reset and or replaced, could be more expensive. And I think I heard you mention, is that why we needed to get a loan? So let me make sure I'm clear. It's not the city of Rockledge getting the loan. It's Brevard County. Parks and Rec have asked for the county commissioners to grant a loan out of their insurance fund for Parks and Rec to have funding to engage these contractors to begin to make the repairs. Okay?
I appreciate being able to understand better. I also wanted to report, and I really just don't know who to report to, but, you know, somebody did, of course, put some boards across the dock. That's good. And, you know, you keep it taped, and I see the tape flying away because I'm on that road usually 6 days a week, walking, running, or driving. But the tape gets replaced. Nonetheless, kids go on that dock, and my husband was unable to come tonight, but just last week, you know, the school kids from certain classes, I don't know, they go from the high school, they walk down my street, and they go to River Road. And he was down there last week. One of the kids, you know, climbed over the boards, went on the dock, and he said something, and, you know, they said something back. But he went and told whoever was in charge, and he said that that teacher really, you know, got him off there and kind of read them the riot act. And I don't know if there's any other or better way to keep people off of that, and I just didn't know who to talk to about it either. So.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. You just talked to the right person.
Okay,
so we'll
great.
certainly look at that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
you.
Nancy.
Thank you. Action item, purchase of new 2018 Ford Police Interceptor Utility Vehicle, Public Safety Department. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is one, if council allows, the purchase of a vehicle for the police department. We certainly need the vehicle, and it would be purchased at the state bid list amount. In addition to that, frankly, quite exciting is that the company we use for some equipment that gets installed on these vehicles is willing to install a little over $11,000 worth of equipment that after it's installed, this vehicle would be on display at two of the, I think, best attended, if you will, conferences in Police Association Business and Sheriff Association Business in October. And then after that display, then the vehicle would come back to the city, and we get to keep the over $11,000 worth of equipment and utilize it for our use. It is our vehicle and would be. So back to you, Mayor.
Anybody here?
Chairman,
Go ahead.
a motion to approve said action item.
Second. We have a motion.
Discussion.
We have a second. Do we have discussion? Does everybody understand what we're doing?
Yes.
Did you have a question?
I do have a concern.
Go ahead.
And maybe the city attorney can help me with regard to the bartering with, for lack of a better word, with DNR electronics and the vehicle being used for showcasing. Is there any liability or concerns that we need to be, issues that we may need to be concerned about?
My understanding is we don't take title of the car until after the two shows where the car is going to be shown.
Okay.
Therefore, it's going to be the property of the manufacturer and or whoever is making the cars. Is that correct, Chief? Do you know? I don't know. Yeah. But the car becomes ours once they are finished with the show. We pay, my understanding is the price of the vehicle, all of the equipment inside, they're going to leave it there essentially gratis. So they're really, other than when they have it at the two shows, we still don't have an ownership interest. I don't know when the check is going to be written. I really can't tell you when the check is the vehicle.
Good.
I was going to say,
City Manager first.
we can certainly, I can, in cooperation with the city attorney, look into that. Actually, it was the recommendation for the city to go ahead and purchase the vehicle. So it would be in the city's title and ownership. The equipment would be installed, go on display, and then come back to the city, of course, and then we keep the equipment. So we may need to talk further about it to make sure there's no liability or problem with it.
So we're going to own the vehicle, and we're going to allow them essentially in a agreement to use the vehicle for show. They're not going to put it on the road. They're not going to do any of the other things that would make it a used vehicle, would they?
I don't know if Chief wants to come up. That's correct. I don't think they're going to put it on the road at all. I think we're going to be over at the conference and
Good question.
be in
It really
possession of it.
is.
Oh, it's a great question.
I mean, if we own the vehicle,
Absolutely.
anything that happens, say there's a fire and somebody gets hurt.
Yes, sir.
Just because we own a car that's there and it's being used, then there's potential for vicarious liability
Most certainly.
to us for it. And I'd feel much more comfortable if we didn't take title until after they had used the
certainly.
vehicle.
And then there's also a caveat in here that says the vehicle and most of the installed equipment will be then turned over to the police department for use. Most, I'm just kind of,
I asked that
we need to specifically state what?
I think they do on the equipment list.
Well, and I can add
I asked that exact same question, but go ahead, Chief.
some clarity to that question. All the lights, sirens, brush bars, all that's going to be included. The vendor for the computer, Samsung, we're asking them to leave the computer in it as well. We're 90% sure they're going to. That's where the most of, we don't have a firm commitment from them that they're going to leave their computer in the car. All the other lights and stuff we have in writing are going to be left in the car. So DNR is not speaking for the computer manufacturer. That's going to be their call at the end of the show.
Would this be any different than if we drove one of our cars to take part in a parade in the city of Cocoa?
Same thing.
Right.
If there, for some reason, one of our vehicles is involved in an accident, in a parade, the city's going to be liable. Someone will sue us. We're deep pockets. Okay, and as I said before, and I'll say again, the only thing you need in Florida to sue someone is $500 and a bad attitude. That's all it takes to file a case, and they are filed all the time. So, we need to be extremely careful. If we did not have title to the vehicle until we took possession of it, then it really wouldn't be our car. We'd have Rockledge name on it, but it wouldn't be our vehicle. And therefore, we wouldn't be liable under it. It's not actually city property at that point. If there's a way we can do it to get around it, I would have to see, get with the chief and figure out what we do with it. But yeah.
Because it would be, would be, if we don't take title of it, it's still property of the dealer.
Correct.
He's not going to give us the car.
Well,
I can tell you that.
Let us put all this stuff on it.
And aren't we attending the conference, Chief, as
yeah.
well? So we'll be there with the vehicle
Doesn't mean we
taking
can't
it.
give them a check.
I was just going to ask that.
Checks are given and held in escrow all the time.
Right.
For vehicles, and all we have to do is give them the check. They hold it in escrow until they're finished using the vehicle for advertisement purposes, and then when they turn the car over to us, they give us the title. That way we don't own the vehicle.
But we're going to be there with the vehicle.
That's
doesn't matter?
fine, but that's not, the car isn't ours. Now, if you want to authorize the police department to use a Rockledge vehicle for advertising purposes for whatever the company is, there is a provision that we have for the use of the city seal and also for the use of the city name. And all we need for that is to have the council by majority vote approval.
I don't want to belabor it, but it's
good
just food for thought.
I think let's move on, but let the city attorney deal with the city manager and the police chief and figure this out.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure, thank you.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Call for the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Petitions, remonstrances, and communications. At this time, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to their city council about anything to do with the city of Rockledge? It's your turn to come forward. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the city council about anything to do with the city of Rockledge? It's your turn to come forward. Seeing none, let's move on. City manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council, a few things tonight. One is I am very happy to report the city has very recently hired a new building inspector. Yay! And he starts May 22nd, so next week. We have turned over every place to find someone, so thankfully we have someone. So he's coming in next week. Next item is the annual ethics training will be offered in Satellite Beach on August 8th. So if any of you wish to attend that ethics training, I will be attending as well. Please let me know.
What day of week is that?
Wednesday.
A what?
Wednesday.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Wednesday.
Is that a council meeting?
No.
No.
Is it still offered online?
It is offered online as well, and we can get the links and everything to each of you if you wish to do it online as well. It was a morning session last time, I think. Several of us went, like 9 to noon-ish, but so if any of you wish to, please let me know if your schedule permits. I want to save enough, or ask Satellite Beach for us to save enough seats for any of us who want to attend.
Okay.
And also just to let you know that if the council wishes to nominate anyone for the E. Harris Drew Municipal Official Lifetime Achievement Award, those nominations are due by July 13th. And lastly, just to let you know, I will be out of state next Thursday and Friday for around the holiday weekend, and Mr. Trine will be acting city manager for those days. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to accept the city attorney litigation report.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. City Attorney.
The executive session we held, the final judgment has been drafted. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the attorney representing the claimant went on vacation. He'll be back the 22nd, and I should have a final word on whether it's been executed and then we'll go on it from there. I was hoping that we'd already have this done. I received, as did the city manager and Alex, a piece of correspondence from the Capital Trust Agency, and it's dated May 7th of 2018. They are trying to issue bonds to get them under, and I'm not a tax expert, but I am admitted to practice law in the tax court and have done it before, but this is an area of special expertise, but I do know the plain reading of a statute. And they're trying to get tax exempt status for some bonds under 26 U.S. Code 147. And there is a requirement that a public approval is required for private activity bonds. This is subsection F1. A private activity bond shall not be qualified bond unless such bond satisfies the requirements of paragraph 2. Gotta love federal statutes. Paragraph 2 states, A, in general, a bond shall satisfy the requirements of this paragraph if such bond is issued as a part of an issue which has been approved by 1, the government unit, sub 1 under that, which issued such bond. That means that we would have to issue the bond to qualify them, or 2, on behalf of such bond was issued. In other words, it was on our action that the bond was issued. They're trying to borrow up to $35 million. I have researched the Florida statutes, case law, and there's nothing statutorily or equitably that requires this council to hold this procedure, to allow them to get the tax exempt status from the federal government. The company, the Capital Trust Agency, is not an agency of the state of Florida. It is from what I have been able to find out, a private corporation that functions and issues these types of bonds. And the entity that was attempting to have the bonds issued they were supposedly Senior Living Revenue Bonds, Rockledge Senior Living Project, Series 2018 was the name of the bonds, and it was going to be loaned to Premium Edge LLC, a Florida limited liability corporation.
So what are you advising us? Nothing, right?
Alex and I have discussed it. The city manager and I have discussed it. There's nothing, as I said, that requires us to do this. The one thing that really always concerns me is when someone sends a letter and says 30 days later, I want to have something, and they're asking it for nothing. Now, they have said that we are indemnified. However, I've dealt with the federal government when it comes to taxation, and to put it very succinctly, they're the IRS. They don't care. They don't have to. If they want their money back, they'll get it. So even though we would be indemnified by a private entity, there's no guarantee. It doesn't feel right. It is private financing. It has nothing to do with the city other than tangentially getting a senior living facility here on 11 acres that these companies don't own. They're going to actually use the bonds to buy the property. The old homily is, sounds like it's all belt buckle, no cattle. That means that I just think that this is them trying to get a loan, having us put our good faith and will out in front of everyone, hold a public hearing on it so they can qualify to do it tax exempt. There's too many questions, too much.
Have they reached out to you to talk to you personally?
They have not. I've gotten copies of everything. I have not received a phone call from the legal firm that's representing them. They just keep saying they want to have the hearing on the 7th of June. Before we would go forward with any of that, we would have to have the council's authority to do the resolutions that they're asking for. And they're essentially saying what I gave you the synopsis of, that they wanted to get bonds issued through the Capital Trust Agency up to $35 million. And there is no statutory requirement that we be involved in it. That means we don't have to, because we're not issuing the bonds. We're not a party to the bond in any way, other than we would, because it's within our jurisdiction, the feds have put, the IRS has put a requirement that the government unit, and if there's more than one having jurisdiction, county, state, 2 different cities, you only have to have one of the municipal units approve it. That would get them under this internal revenue provision. It just doesn't meet the smell test.
Okay. So you're advising us to take no action at this time.
And I would also like direction that I be authorized to contact the council representing them and get a little bit more information about this.
Oh, definitely.
They have, they're trying, I hate it when I feel like I have somebody with 2 hands in my back pushing me for something. If they want us to, we will get absolutely nothing from this other than a facility they want to build so that they can make a profit. But that land and what's going to happen in it will happen in the future no matter what. So there's really not a lot in it for the city. And I'm very concerned about the city's good name, reputation, credit, and liability. And I'm going to need a whole lot more before I would ever come back to this council and say, yes, do it.
So you're looking for a motion to give you, to permit you to look into this further with
just to get more
council.
information.
Okay.
Before and come back and report to the council.
I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
can I recommend we take that to the Business Development Committee as well? Because we may have somebody else come to us with a similar recommendation.
Okay.
And just run it through them as well.
And the city attorney?
Then city attorney.
Okay.
Just some sort of historical, where's it been done before?
Right.
Benchmark it, and what the advantages and disadvantages are.
Okay.
Just
When you hear about indemnification agreements, unless you have a bond or an insurance policy behind them, they are not written in stone.
Not now.
Yeah, it's a piece of paper, unless you have financial backing on it.
All right, point of order, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Now, any further discussion, city attorney?
Nothing I've got my directions.
Make the motion.
No, I think Ted made the motion.
Was to recommend it to the Business Development Committee for review and report. And authorize the city attorney to negotiate.
Thank you.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is that it for your report, Mr. City Attorney?
I believe so.
Okay.
There'll always be more.
Let's move around the dais. City Clerk?
Just wanted to remind everybody of the Memorial Day ceremony on Sunday, May 27th at 2:00 p.m. Larry Schultz Park. We have an outstanding lineup of speakers arranged for everyone. So we hope to see you there if you are in town.
Great, thank you. City Attorney, you're okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hartzell.
School's out.
For you?
Yay.
Till when?
Isn't that a song?
August, second week of August.
Really? Good for you. Ms. Martin?
Just an inquiry under the Business Development Committee minutes. The Kmart Plaza was sold. Do we have any word on what the possible intent is going?
We've been badgering them, but no.
Yeah, we do not at this time, but it has been sold to a company called the Hutton Group. As we've all seen the sign out there, but we're very anxious and looking forward to great things.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Is that it? Dr. Smith?
Yes, sir. Kudos. At Eastern Florida's State College graduation last week, in full regalia as an instructor, it was so nice seeing instructor Ted Hartzell march in with the faculty. Congratulations.
What felt even better is I had about 10 students there cheering, so.
I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Ferguson?
No, sir, not this evening. I yield.
Thank you.
Pass.
Dr. Dasky, nothing?
Nothing.
Deputy Mayor?
I think I'm good. I hear we had a very good meeting on the fire station, and looks like that's going to come in there, and so real happy to hear that. So,
Yep.
Good job to the staff.
Yep. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the Memorial Day celebration the 27th. I'm having surgery the Friday before on my knee, so I'll be down that whole weekend. But hope to be back in it next week. Right, honey?
I heard you say you'd be down the whole weekend. Everybody heard that. It's in the minutes, and we'll refer to them.
Just because he said it doesn't mean we believe it.
Sammy reminded me that we attended the Space Coast League of Cities meeting at Hilton, Melbourne, and brought back the legislative report that you have in front of each of you who did not attend. We were not represented that evening, however, at the Board of Directors, so.
Okay.
Just,
it
happens.
I represented the city of Rockledge at the annual Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce Mayor's Breakfast last Thursday, myself and the city manager. And all 16 mayors were there, the first time I'd ever seen that happen, all 16 mayors, and we had to give a 5-minute report on the state of the city. So it was pretty interesting to hear about everybody else. If there's nothing else before this council, I will adjourn at 6:49.